Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talkin' Tears.
Yeah.
I'm, I have assembled the greatest list of ZD staff from all corners of the website to give our final hopes and dreams for Tears of the Kingdom. This is our last hurrah video before we get there. And before we get into it, Nico, one of our regulars, couldn't make it today. He's out on assignment, but we asked Nico to submit his answer in the form of one of our classic segments, Nico's Nook.
Hello, everybody. I am here today to bring you revolutionary content for Zelda Dungeon, and that is Corey's Nook. There has never been a team member that's had a Nook before. This is really important stuff. And I'm here today to tell you really what my true hopes and dreams are for Tears of the Kingdom, because I'm just downright excited. And I have prepared this slideshow, if you will, that'll help streamline the process and just really show you what my true hopes and dreams are. So what is my greatest hope for Tears of the Kingdom? Well, I'll tell you what my greatest hope is. That wasn't even for this, that was for something else. My greatest hope for Tears of the Kingdom, it's kind of simple, kind of weird to say, but the only thing I really hope for, because we know this game's going to be great, we know it's going to play great, it looks like they've blown the top off of the whole sandboxy play with the instruments at your disposal and explore and puzzles and yada yada, all that stuff. I know it's going to play great. What I really want from Tears of the Kingdom is for it to address kind of some of the stuff that Breath of the Wild was lacking in the feeling Zelda-y department. And the two big specific things are unique dungeons that feel like dungeons and a more narrative-driven plot with cutscenes and characters and dialogue that feel more like they're happening along your adventure rather than just, memories. So, as long as they do that, I think this game is going to rock regardless.
Oh my goodness. Corey's Nook. I hope Nico's okay.
Hey.
Not what I was expecting. Jeez.
No.
Thoughts
No.
and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers for sure. As Corey said, his number one or two hopes and dreams was for, which I think a lot of people share, are more traditional dungeons that are more distinct, but also more of a narrative storyline compared to Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Andy, how what do you think about that? Is that one of the things that's been in your mind going into this game?
Yeah, of course. I think that when Breath of the Wild came out, one of the best Zelda games ever, one of the best games ever. But like, if you were to poll your average Zelda fan, there would be the typical responses you'd get. Like, I want regular traditional dungeons. I want a more focused story. I want non-breakable weapons, and I want maybe some people would have said music as well. But yeah, I think that those are like the big kind of things that I've seen over this last 4 years. A lot of Zelda fans say like, this is what I want for Tears of the Kingdom to deliver, and I think Corey's gonna be, I think he's gonna be happy, because I think that's what it looks like to me so far. But who can say?
Yeah. What Adriel, McKenna, either of you, like, with the story? I feel like it's kind of it's been a big one, so I don't know if you had any more thoughts on the storyline and what you'd like to see from it.
Yeah, I mean, I was not super in the know when Breath of the Wild came out, unlike a lot of people at ZD or a lot of other people. I didn't have a Switch. I was just kind of out of the loop. So it's interesting to look back on that now, 2020 vision, and think like, oh, did we think there was going to be a lot of story? And then it turns out that there actually wasn't, right? Because to me, the Tears of the Kingdom promotional stuff looks very story heavy. It looks like there's a lot of potential for new characters and returning characters, all kinds of stuff. But then I look back at the Breath of the Wild stuff, and then I think, oh well, we thought that we thought that then too.
Yeah,
I
totally.
We did, for sure.
I was like, I'm not going on the internet the first week Breath of the Wild's out because I don't even want to know what Calamity Ganon is. That must be a big secret.
Mm-hmm. Joke's on you.
It was on me. That's
What's
for sure.
the deal with malice?
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna find out that. I don't think we're gonna find that out either.
No.
No detailed lore book. Malice.
Silly Malice.
Yeah.
Malice show as a term shows up in Zelda prior to Breath of the Wild.
True.
Yeah, did you know this? What, Skyward Sword? Yeah.
Little Skyward Sword, yeah.
I've been replaying, and I think I posted the exact same tweet as I did the last time I played Skyward Sword, where it's like, oh, the evil crystals are made of malice.
It's just
It
like
goes back all the way to the beginning of the timeline.
Yeah.
it's just a normal like element in Zelda. It's like iron or whatever. Malice. M-A.
M.A. So yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get a new story. I mean, it seems like I would bet that there are going to be dungeons. I would bet money on that. But more traditional dungeons, you know. But story, I think, is still out to lunch. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, if we're gonna see a similar gameplay style, there probably still will be a lot of. I don't know. I imagine there's still gonna be a lot of in between stuff.
This is what I would say is like Breath of the Wild and the Champions Ballad had a really nice collection of like little character moments that gave you insight into the character and were in a vacuum like kind of these cool scenes, but like in terms of the overall story of Breath of the Wild, they most of them didn't really contribute much. So I would hope that, because I think there's probably going to be something similar to Memories in this game or some kind of equivalent. I would hope that those do inform whatever kind of story they're telling in this game. And as for bosses and dungeons, I think in the last trailer that we saw, the story trailer, looked like there's a little insect guy floating up. That looked to me like a dungeon boss if I've ever seen one. So here's hoping.
McKenna, do you have any story hopes and dreams?
I mean, my biggest hope was that there would be story, not relegated to flashbacks, and based on what we've seen, I don't think that all that story stuff is taking place between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I think there's probably going to be a story dump at the beginning of the game, and then something somewhere in the middle. I think I'd like to see something similar to how Red Dead Redemption 2 does the story, where there's like certain objectives where you kind of move on to a new chapter and you get more story. So it's story dispersed throughout the game.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
My hope.
I agree. We were talking about, I don't know if you guys have ever played Horizon Zero Dawn, but I think like that's a pretty good like template for how you can have like a really big open world game, but with a really focused and tight narrative story. So I'm with you. I'm hoping that it's like taking some notes from some of the contemporary games that have come out since Breath of the Wild.
For me,
Yeah.
I don't like this. The story changing or whatever isn't like a big hope for me. But one thing though that I feel like would kind of satisfy that for me a little bit more, and it's kind of my biggest hope, is that they can sort of flesh out the world a little bit more. Not even just with like lore, but like just like some more unique things to do. You know what I mean? There's a lot of, I mean, I like some of the big long stretches of Breath of the Wild where you're just kind of running around and just taking it all in. But there was, with certain side quests and some of the collectibles and stuff, it after a while it gets a little bit like, okay, I've kind of done this a million times. So for me, like the story would be, it's like give or take, but as long as like the world is if they could step that up a little bit more. I expect similar gameplay and stuff like that, going around solving all kinds of puzzles with your runes, but I'd like them to see, I guess, side quests and side content feel a little bit more meaningful than in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it makes me wonder that there was like one line that was in some of the promotional materials where they're like, it's not choose your own adventure, but it's something like that. It's like you decide the fate or something. I should pull it up, but it's like you choose your own path. That's what it is. You choose your own path. So then I was wondering how, because to me that's, you know, obviously much less like a narrative thing where like this leads to this has consequences. You have to do these things so that the motivations of the characters make sense and the consequences are real. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that in particular stood out to me in terms of narrative, but I do think that like you know, Ocarina of Time, if you just had to do the dungeons in any order, there's still a narrative. It still has consequences. It still makes sense. So maybe it's something kind of, you know, more like that, you know.
Yeah. I can see them like and I think they were attempting it a little bit with Breath of the Wild in the different regions, but I think they wanted them to sort of feel it reminded me of the 4 regions in Majora's Mask, where they're kind of their own self-contained stories. And I think most people with all those little storylines like that element of the game as well as the side quests. And I think in Breath of the Wild they tried to do a similar thing, but you can do them in any order type thing. But I don't know. There was some good stuff there. You know, I like the story with like Sidon and some of the characters, but yeah.
I feel like the way that they told the story in like the 4 divine beasts, like the format itself isn't necessarily the problem. I think the problem was just like the literal main story. Like there wasn't a lot to it. Like there was a calamity happened 100 years ago. Zelda was struggling to wake up her powers, and then like that's pretty engaging to me. But then like you see all these kind of weird moments in the game where they're like I said earlier, they're almost just kind of like little snapshot moments that don't feel like they really have like an overall purpose to the narrative of the game beyond getting to know the characters a little bit. So like the format, I think, isn't, I mean, it could be tweaked and improved, but it wasn't like the Achilles heel. It was just like the actual story that they were telling itself wasn't always firing the way that it should have been, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Why don't we go around, McKenna? Why don't you give us your biggest hopes and dreams for the game? As many as you want.
As many as I want.
One hope, one dream, one reserve.
One reserve.
Okay, kind of to riff off of Corey's dungeon hope. I definitely hope there are dungeons. Although I'm going to say I want some non-traditional dungeons, more a la Hyrule Castle. Maybe something that looks like Sandship from Skyward Sword. Just some stuff where you're just in a neat place and wandering around, you know, not necessarily super structured.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I think too, like I'd like to see, like I actually don't mind the Divine Beast like style in theory. I think it was just done multiple times, and then some of them just weren't, like in terms of like what the actual structure. I always think of Va Meadow. I never found like the tipping it left and right, like and like the navigation surrounding that, like that exciting. It's like pretty fun, but it's not like, it doesn't match like some of the great dungeons is what I mean. Whereas like ones like I think like Va Naboris was actually like pretty challenging and kind of a thinker, and I kind of like that. So I wouldn't mind seeing like similar styles to that brought in, but it can't be the only thing, you know. Like if there was like one Divine Beast in the game or two or something, or like, you know, you see some of those overworld puzzles kind of have like that. There was some of those gameplay videos like had similar mechanics, like those sort of things incorporated in are fun. It's just, yeah, it can't be the whole style, I think.
I don't think the Divine Beast can come back. Like I think we are Divine Beasted out. Like
Yeah.
if you like you've done the 4 from the last game, you did the final Divine Beast from the DLC, which to your point is really fun, but it's like all 5 look the same, sound the same, taste the same. I don't think we can go back to that. But McKenna, to your point, I'm pretty confident that like the dungeons that we're gonna get in Tears of the Kingdom, it would make sense to me that there's going to be like 4 or 5 like Hyrule Castle style dungeons, because I think that's going to be like the new dungeon for like this open world kind of Zelda game. So I think I could see that happening.
For sure. Yeah, that style
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah, I hadn't even like I know that, most people at large think of Hyrule Castle as like a dungeon. I never really quite thought of it that way. It more just was like the final like level, but I really like thinking about it in the terms of I'd heard of it as a dungeon categorized that way, but I like what you outlined, McKenna. I think that if there were more areas like that that were kind of self-contained, and you could kind of come at them whenever you want, but they're very difficult, or various levels of difficulty. Yeah, I think that'd be great. I think that'd scratch the itch.
One thing we mentioned a couple like in some of our discussions, it's even farther away, but it's sort of like another like big overarching area / challenge is like more things like Eventide Island, like more unique large challenges like that, like really use up like a lot of an area and like kind of really immerse you in that area. I think would be cool too. It's sort of like that's sort of even more of an in between. It's not necessarily even a dungeon, but I don't know. It makes for some more fun challenges, I'd say.
Right.
So that was a hope. What about a dream?
I don't know if this is a dream. This is I think still a hope. But just like more developed areas, especially in some of the less developed areas from Breath of the Wild, like the Hebra region, and considering the amount of Zonai looking stuff in the Faron region, that region, that's
Oh, for sure.
I
Get
mean,
the
it looks like we're
Zonai.
gonna be building stuff. We got like these little construction setup areas in the trailers.
I want to be building igloos for a Nuki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Wow, that's a dream right there. That is a dream.
That is a dream.
We got a shout out to McKenna. You were showing me earlier some of your original hopes for the game when it was just Breath of the Wild sequel, and some of the things. What was the last thing you shared me was like a dead-on accurate prediction. It was like, let me. Sorry, go ahead.
So I made these wish lists, and one of the things on my wish list was weapon upgrades and customization, and one of the sentences I wrote to elaborate was, let me fuse weapons.
I was like, wow.
Oh wow.
Nostradamus here.
Nostradamus. We did a great ZeldaCast episode on all those predictions.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
You should check those out.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Yeah.
So we should be, taking notes to what McKenna's saying now, because
Yeah. What else did you say? Did it come true?
Oh,
Yeah.
there was other ones, yeah, right?
Okay, the other one I showed you was that I wanted to see more Riju, specifically Riju and Sidon.
Wow.
And you were like, I don't care about the other two. Yeah.
That's where he went. Oh,
Taba, whatever.
yeah, Taba's on the brink, but Hinobo.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh boy.
They are the two best ones, I think.
Yeah, that's what they say. It sounds like I have like some secret beef with one of them.
Vendetta against Hinobo. I have a vendetta against Hinobo. I hated that escort mission. That was horrible.
Yeah, it's
Get up
rough.
the mountain yourself, my brother. Come on.
Hey, it's teamwork. It's teamwork, You have to teach him to be brave. It's a good storyline.
I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
let's.
it's rough.
I mean, I
It's-
think
it's-
he's still there. I just think the way he looks is, I think the way he looks is probably I don't know, maybe a spoiler, and that's why they didn't show him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
His weapons in the trailer.
Who was saying he's gonna have a fresh haircut, new do.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he's got an eye patch. That'd be cool.
I've been through hell.
It's got tattoos and stuff.
Wow.
That would be really cool.
Andy, how about you? Greatest hopes and dreams?
So I actually,
reserve.
yeah, I do have a couple, and I put this list together on Zelda Dungeon, but I didn't contribute to it myself because I feel like I don't like what's left to say about this game, but I do have my reserve is this. I hope you can pet the dogs. That'd be great.
Come on.
Right? Like,
Yeah,
pet the dogs. That'd
I
be
feel
nice.
like such a big deal. They have to put it in, right?
I'm
Yeah.
come on, let's do it. So
I was playing Blasphemous, and that game is crunchy and scary, and you can pet the dogs in that game. So come on, there's really no excuse.
That is a crunchy. That's a good word for that game, crunchy. It is. So this would be my hope, which is like sorta, kinda come true a little bit. But so for the past couple of years, I've been yakking about how I think it would be like so sick if instead of when like you go to random corners of Hyrule and it's like okay, there's a big stall knocks or like here's the Talus or like here's the whatever, maybe Guardian or Lionel. It's like come on, baby, let's get those old Zelda bosses back in there and put them on the map. And my head almost exploded when I saw Gleeok in the last trailer because I couldn't believe it was coming true. I was like, yes. So that would be awesome, but like I don't want it to stop at Gleeok. Like I'm talking like let's get Thunderbird somewhere. Like how awesome would that fight be? Like how awesome would Aquamentus showing up be, or like like any of those classic like Goma, like any of those classic great bosses, even maybe some of the Link to the Past ones I think would be like so awesome, and it would like add a little bit of personality to the different corners of the world where it's like okay, like maybe I don't have a ton of reason to go to Hebra, but like Aquamentus is there, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna track him down. To me, that pulls me in more than like going to fight a Lionel or like a whatever, and maybe they could be tied to a side quest or something. I think that would just be like so cool to see those old bosses come back. So that's my hope.
Imagine you're climbing on a rock and it starts to get up and you're like, oh, it's a Talus or whatever, but it turns out it's the head of a Helmasaur king.
Oh,
and you're like, oh my goodness, it's a dinosaur.
That would be so awesome.
Get the Gemasaur King in there.
Gemasaur. Oh, because that's easy. That's perfect because they have Talus, Igneo Talus or whatever, and some of them they give you better stuff or whatever. You have a Helmasaur King, then you have the Gemasaur King, you have a Fire Helmasaur King. I don't care,
Like picture this, okay? You've used recall. You're floating up in the sky. You've landed on this great sky island. It's nighttime. There's not a lot going on. All of a sudden, you hear a crackling, and the weather starts to turn, and you hear like, and all of a sudden, it's Thunderbird. And it's just like, oh my god, this guy is huge and he's scary, and this is gonna be awesome. That would be so cool.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, you really took me there.
Make it happen.
This is awesome. I think this is. Listen, I think that it was a big a complaint that there was not a lot of enemy diversity, and I think that like they've had a lot of time, and I really feel like they can just have like different enemies, like one enemy in a certain region, kind of like what to McKenna's point about having more identity and more stuff in certain places, like all of that area in like the Gerudo Highlands where there's like it's cold but there's like nothing there. Imagine if there was like some cool bosses there.
Oh, I would love it. Because that's a great thing in Breath of the Wild. Like I always remember running into some of those bosses the first time, but that's a similar to the side quests where it's like, okay, I fought this guy a bunch now. It's a little less cool.
Yeah, I think that you'd want to use like restraint with them, like only have like maybe one or like you could maybe have like a fire Gleeok or like an ice Gleeok or like whatever, but like I don't think you want like a ton of them because I actually do think that there's value in those places in Breath of the Wild where it's like desolate and there's nothing going on, but like we can have a little something to
Yeah.
spice it up, you know?
And even
Yeah.
reusing some of them, like, it does still feel like big in certain areas where you get and you're like, oh, this is like whatever,
Yeah.
whatever color Lionel. It feels like serious when you encounter that again, but it's even harder or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a dream, and this may
Okay.
be silly. But I don't know. Tell me what you guys think of this. So, and maybe I'm just gonna say to anyone that has not played Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, I'm gonna spoil a little bit of it here. But I would love for there to be something. I don't know what it is. Something like maybe have Terrico in this game, or like something in this game to justify the time I spent in Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity playing it, because it was marketed as the prequel to Breath of the Wild, and it wasn't really the prequel. It was just kind of this self-contained weird story that's in its own bubble. Maybe there could be some sort of something, I don't know, that makes it tie together, or at least acknowledges that game, or I don't know. But I don't know about you guys, but like after
Suga.
hey, my dude, like I like
He's cool.
him. Like Goo, you and I talked about this the other week. Like I just like I feel like after playing Age of Calamity, I had a bad taste in my mouth, even though I enjoy the game and I think it's fun. But it's kind of like this weird paradox. But like,
Yeah.
I have a bad taste in my mouth based on the story and the way that it was marketed. So I don't know if Tears of the Kingdom is never even going to go there, because why would you? But I don't know, maybe some sort of something, the technical term there, to justify the time that we all
But
spent.
Would you
in
be
Age of Calamity.
satisfied if it was just like they bring Suga in or whatever?
I don't know.
Yeah, like would it have to be more than just like, oh, they carried this element? Would it have to be like, like, oh, they acknowledged it and made it fit in the timeline? Or
Let me, I don't know, like it's hard to say without knowing a little bit more about Tears of the Kingdom, but let me throw a hypothetical out there for you. So I think we've all kind of bandied about this theory for the last couple months that there might be an element to time travel in Tears of the Kingdom, because it certainly looks like Link and Zelda are somewhere else, right? Or like into the Zeldaverse or whatever. Maybe Terrico is the one that facilitates that in some way or some form. I don't know. Like, and maybe if you're going into the Zeldaverse, you could go into the different Zeldaverse, and you could bring the old champions back. Like that would kind of be cool. But like, this is pie in the sky.
Yeah.
I don't even know if this is dream. This is beyond a dream. It's like a hallucination.
this is a delusion.
Yeah, I was gonna say. It's a hallucination.
So retitle the video: "Hopes and Dreams and Hallucination."
I don't know. I just
I feel like maybe
something.
the best we're gonna get with that is like maybe some like like references, maybe like you'll
yeah.
see a Terrico on a picture in a stable or something, like I feel like maybe that's what we're gonna get. I like can't see how
To be
they
clear,
would.
I don't expect
Or Easter
anything.
egg.
Like I think they
Right,
touch on
sure.
that. Yeah.
Sure, I wouldn't either if I was
No,
them, so
I
I
wouldn't
get it.
either.
Yeah.
Adriel, how about you? What are your greatest hopes and dreams?
My greatest hopes. This is really setting me up for success here. My greatest hopes and dreams. Okay, I have two. One, I think is I got pretty granular here because I don't know. I misunderstood the assignment. One is that I do hope there's a recipe book. Please, it's basic.
There
I want a
is.
recipe book.
They announced it.
Oh.
There is.
Yes.
Well, my hope is complete. Now, my dream.
I'm
I
glad
think's
we
a
could take
little
care of
bit-
that for you now.
Thank God. I'm done. No, okay, so my dream is a little. Watch, I'm gonna say it, and then Andy's gonna be like, "That's already confirmed."
Nope.
It's we can, if we can use Keith's eyeballs and we're picking up monster parts, why can't we fuse our own monsters? That's my hope.
Like
I
you,
want to fuse a monster as my sidekick, pet, sacrificial lamb, bodyguard, whatever.
you want to.
That's-
Oh,
that's
you
my
want to
dream.
create like a decoy.
You're like
Sure.
Dr. Frankenstein. I love it. That's great.
Come on. What? I got a Keith's eyeball. I got some
Can you
Hinox foot
Yes.
or whatever, and I can just put them together. And come on, I feel like this is like this is not going to happen, but that's not
You gotta go talk.
that crazy.
You gotta go talk to your buddy Dompe. He's got to procure a corpse for you. Then he's like, "Look, attach all the monster parts you want." We haven't seen all the runes yet. One might be reanimate.
Wow.
Listen, if you can,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you can use, everyone's like, I want to see the meat arrow or whatever. I mean, I just feel like if you,
Everyone
depending
is
on what we
saying
can
that.
confuse- Yeah. Yeah, by the logic of the fusing, I think I should be able to create my own monster. If the Keese eyeball is alive enough to be able to seek out an enemy,
There you go.
I think that this could be part of the logic of the game.
You could fuse the monster and then get the crystal coconut, and it'll bring it to life. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, see, you guys get it.
That's when you learn the true power of the crystal coconut.
Oh, time.
Me and Andy have been trying to figure that out for a while
Yeah.
now. You know what? You made me think. You were talking about picking up parts in the Keese eyeball. It'd be cool if you could like make an item with the Keese eyeball that just picks up everything that drops for you.
That would be.
Just like instead of it's a heat-seeking arrow, it just goes around and it's like vacuums it up.
You'd need like an anteater mouth attached so it could like hoover things up for you.
Well, yeah, they haven't had anteaters yet in Zelda, I don't think, but
No, we've got close. We've got close. I have
sure.
a really boring, but like I hope that there. Sorry, I know it's not my turn. I'm just rudely butting in, but I do hope that there's like a quick fuse option for like if you fuse something before, like you made a boat. I hope that like you could just like quickly just be like boat or something, and it's just like
right.
Because like, I
Right,
think
I
that's gonna
mean-
get a little bit old after a while.
Speaking of recipe books, there could be like a fusing notebook, you know, it could be something where you're like, I fused this thing, like remember it and like put it down so that you can like make it again or like
Yes.
iterate off of it in a particular way. So yeah, that would be useful and related to the recipe book 2.0, you know.
Yes, that's a recipe book. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, and if it's like that's another thing too, they can flesh out the world. If you could do quests to like increase your, you know, your knowledge of recipes and stuff like that. You know, I remember you could like sometimes read about them, or someone would be like, "Hey, could you make me this?" You know, it'd be cool if there was more like that. Like, oh, you learned how to craft homing arrows. You know, put in your log. That can make it another
Yeah, that would be cool.
another thing like the
Probably,
compendium. What was that?
Yeah, totally.
I'd guess that there are quests that involve like
Yeah.
making specific weapon fusions.
Probably right.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Also
listen.
handing a carriage, horse carriage,
Yeah.
That'd be awesome, man.
carriage escort.
Yeah.
Escort missions, yeah.
I'm sure one of those is coming back. I have no doubt.
Oh yeah.
Did we see Link in a carriage in the last trailer?
Mhm.
We did, right? Yeah.
Oh, so they're be trying to
It's-
shoot, dropping bombs on them, and you gotta
Ugh.
take them out. But the homing arrows will make it easier. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It would be a
can't-
lot
It couldn't be
easier.
worse than escorting
Oh
whoever
no,
it was. And
it
I'm
was
not even gonna say
Ilya.
it.
Oh, you
Was
won't-
it?
I won't even speak her name. Oh, it's
No.
and Rallis.
We're
Prince
having
Rallis?
a nice night. We don't have to say it.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about that game tonight.
Lower ourselves. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, it'd be also great if you had your own BYO DIY monsters that you could create yourself from other monsters that you killed. Think about it first. Just think about it. I'm saying.
And you know what?
It'd be pretty cool.
You should be able to check those monsters into the stables. I'm disappointed every
yeah.
time I get
Yeah.
on my stall horse and I'm galloping over and I get to the stable and he's just like, we don't check that in.
Mhm.
Why not?
They look at you with disgust. Ugh.
Ugh,
Yeah.
How's
what
my
is
bear?
that?
When you said monsters, I thought you meant like bokoblins or whatever. Like it'd be cool if
Yeah,
you
that's
could
what I
mount
thought.
mount any monster in the game, bring it to a stable. You should be able to tame all the enemies.
Smile is Alphos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You could
right.
put a little
yeah.
collar
Fire
on them
breathing
or
is a-
something.
This is my
Oh.
Igneo Talus.
That'd be
I
awesome.
mean, the other monsters ride the taluses. It appears.
Oh yeah, they got the little,
Very,
yeah.
very true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see? Yeah,
I mean-
you should be able to build a fort on top of a talus. Okay. This is devolved into.
It is
Sorry,
true,
go
but I am gonna say that well, one, if you tame the thing on Satori Mountain, the
Lord
God
of
of
the
the
Mountain or
Lord of the
whatever.
Mountain. I mean, and then I was like, I finally did it. I'm gonna keep this thing. And then you go down and it's like,
Right.
absolutely
Mhm.
not. I was like, what's the point of doing all of this?
What'd that
if you
get ya?
can't- Like, it got me nothing.
What is it
It's
good
got me
for?
a few screenshots. That was it. But also related to this, great fairies and the horse god. That is another dream, is that I think that it'd be cool to have other like big staple characters that like do something.
Some magical beings, yeah.
Right. Like I really fell in love with Hyrule and Breath of the Wild, and the fairies were kind of a part of that, even though they weren't super useful or whatever. And when I found the horse god, I was like, this is the craziest, coolest thing ever. Even though I was like, and then I was like, wait, you can kill your horse? I had no idea.
Yeah, never. Well, it might have happened to me, but I never thought to go talk to that guy. I think it's because we talked on the Zelda cast, but like I often was like abandoning horses, you know, because I'm like, I need to climb this now, and then I get to the top. Oh, I want my horse. Oh, I want that horse armor at the start of the game. You know, I want to be able to like just get my horse to teleport.
I never really used horses in Breath of the Wild, and like I feel like I'm gonna use them even less in this game. I mean, we can make like John Deere tractors, and like, who wants to ride a horse? You know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be ripping down the mountain in like my 4-wheeler.
I'm gonna have a forklift. I'm gonna be moving crates.
Get you up to the Sky Island.
Hold on, buddy. We gotta. Are you certified?
I'm gonna build a horse rescue ranch. This is something I thought about a couple weeks ago. Actually, is building a horse rescue ranch where I can rescue all the horses from the bokoblins. House them
And like
in my-
rehabilitate them and
Yeah,
give
that
them
is
a nice
noble.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be
How
building
heartwarming.
houses.
And
There should be
I
quests
take in
for.
all animals, all mounts.
McKenna, you're the best of us.
Yeah. Yeah, we already knew that, but you really proved it.
Yeah.
Well, we're days away from the game, so pretty excited. I would expect. Hopefully, we'll see some more of these faces here in some more videos talking about Tears of the Kingdom. This is gonna be the number one place to go. Maybe number two. Number one place to go to hear about Tears of the Kingdom is gonna be on the Zelda cast. Actually, every
No pressure.
week. And Andy, what you have kind of a rollout, right, for what you're going to be talking about in the game?
A rough idea, yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to be like week 1 is going to be first impressions. Week 2, we're going to kind of update you with some things that we've seen in the game, and no like specific like schedule, but like there's going to be an episode about like our favorite side quests. There's going to be an episode about the music. There's going to be an episode about the dungeons. There's going to be an episode about the bosses. There's going to be like a full spoiler episode. There's going to be all those kinds of episodes. So yeah, that's gonna be going down. Goo, we didn't get to hear what you wanted from your one last thing.
Oh, well, my main thing was the side quests and like filling out the world, and I mean,
Right.
you all kind of hit on different ways that you can do that. That's kind of my main thing is that, and the horse. My dream is getting the horse armor right away. How about that? I really
like
want the
it.
teleporting horses. I mentioned to you on the Zelda cast, but like that was one of the satisfying things in Elden Ring is just blowing your
Yeah.
whistle, and you're on the horse too, which I
Oh,
don't.
and you're ripping. Yeah.
Yeah, you can be running and go or whatever, and you're just.
Yeah. And jumping
That's
feels
cool.
great. on
Oh,
the
you
horse, too.
double jump
Smells
with the
great.
horse? I don't expect.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
maybe
No, I don't expect that in this game, but
maybe there could be a thing like Lord of the Mountain where it's like the special, really difficult horse to get, and you can get it, and it jumps high
Yeah.
or something. You know, I don't know.
It flies.
It flies.
Yes.
Oh, a Pegasus.
You got a Pegasus. Yeah.
That would be so unreal, actually. Like, man,
That's
that'd
going
be
all
awesome.
the way back to original Hyrule Compendiums. That's always one of Moss's big wishes. So, shout out to
Oh,
Moss.
I feel like I instantly want it less now. But I have one more thing. I have one more thing.
Okay.
It's serious. It's serious. I hope that it was worth it. I hope this wait was worth it, because it was a long, difficult, frustrating wait to get to this game. And I know a bunch of stuff happened in the world, but like it was this, to me, this was the opposite of when Breath of the Wild was delayed in coming out. Like, that kind of, like, it almost felt like there was this hopefulness that like something fantastic was on the horizon. And until the last trailer came out, I really didn't feel that way about this game. And the last trailer definitely got me psyched up. It got me pumped. But I think I still do have some questions. Maybe not as pressing now, but like I hope it was worth it, and I hope that we didn't wait all of this time for like a really good Zelda game. Like, it has to be something really monumental. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my hope.
That was one that I had mentioned it so much that I was like, it almost went without saying. There's like a secret hopes, dreams, and fears. But
yeah,
I'm similar to you where that's kind of faded away a little bit. You know, like seeing the trailer and like getting the sense of like, oh, has a lot of unique things in it. So
I have faith. I have faith for sure. But I think I hope it was worth it. Like this wait, because it was a long wait. The longest wait, actually, in fact, between mainline Zelda games ever.
Yeah, so much has happened. So much has happened since then. We're all different people.
Yeah,
but,
we are. We changed a lot.
Yeah. So,
like, I mentioned how, the Zelda cast is going to be covering it, but we don't have we don't on the YouTube here, we don't really have like a weekly show or anything like that. But I was thinking back to the old Hyrule Compendiums, where when it came out, we just did a bunch of videos where we talked about topics, like micro topics. Like, we did a video that was just about horses, like down to minute things. And I'm expecting to do a bunch of those, like similar to what you were saying, first impressions, overall things. And then you can expect on the channel here for like months to come, I'm going to wrangle up, don't worry, Corey and maybe Nico. We got to see if Corey can release Nico from his clutches.
Oh, no.
But, and maybe some of you all would like to come back, and we'll check in with how everyone's feeling about Tears of the Kingdom. Thanks to all of you guys for coming and joining me today. It was nice talking to you.
Thanks for having us, Goo. This was great.
This is a unique video.
Fun.
Yeah. The real pleasure. It's an honor to be nominated.
Yeah, these guys are legit. They're an upgrade over Corey for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Really, he was the one. We'll just leave it at that, actually. Corey sucks, and we'll see everybody probably next week.
Hey guys, I'm sending in Nico's Nook for today's video. Now, we're talking about our biggest hopes for Tears of the Kingdom. So, my immediate thought for my biggest hope is that I really want them to take the base of what Breath of the Wild set, the sort of sandbox, the playground that created, and take it to new heights. A lot of people say that Breath of the Wild was sort of like a tech demo, and that it was the basis of what could be something even more incredible than it already was. So maybe that's what Tears of the Kingdom is going to be. And based on the abilities that we're getting, it looks like it's going to be. The past, with Breath of the Wild was really focused on exploration, and now Tears of the Kingdom is going to be focused on experimentation, which gets me super stoked and excited. So of course I had to record this video out here in the wilds of the suburbs of Chicago. The beautiful sunset in the background. I bet we'll get some beautiful sunsets in Tears of the Kingdom, I'll tell you that. You guys have a good one.